Hi, this is Emily from Simply Steins. We are doing another segment today of Hometown Homesteads, and I'm super excited to introduce you to the Campbell family. They are just a loving family, and they have done such an amazing job here. I can't wait for you to come along and share their story with you.
Hi, I'm Jamie Campbell. We're the Campbells, and my husband is Chris Campbell, and our children are Amelia, Madeline, and Joey. And my husband's a travel nurse, and he's been doing that now for about 3 years. And I stay at home with the kids and homeschool them, and I clean homes occasionally, but for the most part, I stay at home and homeschool them and homestead. So we moved out here to rural Indiana about 13 years ago, 14 years ago actually, from Florida. So originally city people, and we decided we just wanted to be in the country. You know, we just wanted a little bit of privacy and room to be able to let the children, run around and be able to do the things we wanted to do, So, I guess homesteading, it's definitely something that I believe that God has instilled in us, that we need to be healthy. We need to be outside more. We need to show the children that, there's more to life than food from the grocery store, and there's more than, going, going to school and going to work 40 hours a week and, and coming home and doing it all over again next week, having 2 days off. Like that's not our dream, Well, my husband originally is from Indiana, and he had moved to Florida, and that's where we met. And he always said he wanted to move back to, his hometown and to, garden and have animals and things like that. And so that was kind of, I guess, implanted in me. But also, what's funny is even though I lived in the city, my dad would grow tomatoes, and I had a little garden with radishes when I was little. I lived on a little yard, in the city. And so I guess I really got my first love of that when I was little. So when we moved up here, we lived in an apartment for a year, and itty bitty little apartment, and we knew that we wanted to live in the country, but we weren't sure 100% sure where, so that's why we lived in the apartment for a year. And when we decided to move out here, we were able to pay cash for it, and we built a pole barn house. And while we were having it built, we bought a travel trailer and we lived in it for about 6 months. So, and actually, the pole barn was just supposed to be a garage, and eventually we were supposed to build a house. We were just going to live in it temporarily. And 13 years later, we're still living in it, unfinished. So, so it's a lot to our story. It's a long story, so the shortened version is, so we built it and lived in it for several years. My husband started going to school about an hour away, and it was just a lot with him working and going to school. And so we bought a small house over there and lived in it for about 4 years while he went to school. And he started working over there and at a hospital. And then we decided to go on the road for a year. So our camper, I'm sure Emily will show you, we lived in it for a year on the road, and then we lived in it for about 6 months again when we moved back here to our property. And we always knew we wanted to come back. It was always our dream to move back and have a real homestead. And so we did. We came back after a year being on the road. and then eventually we moved back into the pole barn. So, and it's still kind of our dream to build a home, maybe a log cabin or something, on our property as well, and then use the pole barn as either like more storage for garage things, you know, the tractors and things like that, or maybe even have classes one day, because that's something I really enjoy doing, like teaching classes, or or just having girlfriends over or whatever, scrapbooking or something like that. So I've got a million hobbies. What's the saying? Master of none, jack of all trades, or something like that. Jack of all trades, master of none, or so, I forget what the saying is. But so eventually, our dream is to build a house. So, but the pole barn is still unfinished. It is unfinished, but it's livable. We have a bathroom, we have a kitchen, we have living room, you know, everything like that. And so the kids have bedrooms, so it's livable. It's just the walls aren't finished, and you know, so but we're mortgage free, so yay! So that's always a plus, you know. So anyway, in the beginning with the animals, we would go to the local auctions and get animals, and then we would come home and wouldn't have anywhere for them. We weren't prepared, you know, and of course that was early on in our homesteading years, and so then, you know, we would have to deal with having them in a box in the house or whatever, you know, whatever the case was, you know. And so, and it would be a week before, you know, my husband could get around to building something. And so anyway, through the years we realized that you definitely have to have your structure prepared for your animals before you get them. So that would be the number one thing I think we've learned with homesteading, with animals anyway. So and being prepared with your fruit and vegetables too. When it starts to come in, you need to be prepared, because it's going to go bad quick, you know. If you're, you know, just getting it, the fruit, you know, canning it, or, you know, your vegetables or whatever, if you need to dry them or whatever the case may be. So yeah, just making that time to do that, because otherwise you've lost all that time in getting it, you know. And not necessarily with fruit trees, but with your vegetables for sure. So, and in the winter months, you know, you'll be kicking yourself like, oh, I should have done this, you know, because then I would have had more, you know, fruit and vegetables available in the winter. So even with the herbs and stuff, they come up every year, but in the winter you don't have them, and so you want to preserve them, so dry them or whatever, and so you have them for the winter months. So, I mean, foraging is something else. I mean, you're going out and you're gathering something for free, you know, and it's healthy. And it just gets me away from everything. It's quiet in the woods, you know, and it's a time alone with God. That's just something that I really treasure, you know. So, but yeah, canning, I love canning because it's something that I can give my family, and I know we're going to have fresh fruit or vegetables in the wintertime, you know, so, and I don't have to buy it from the grocery store. So I'm still learning a lot about that. There's so much with that. It's just, it's so much fun though, you know, and not everyone knows it, you know, and knows how to do it, but it is really, for the most part, really easy, you know, and so it's easy to learn. And so I encourage everybody to learn how to can at least one thing in your life, even if it's a water bath, you know, canning some jam or jelly. So but yeah, those two things are probably my favorite things to do. Yeah. So I would always encourage everyone to be as debt free as you can, to do everything as smart as you can financially. You should try to buy your property with cash. Try to buy your home, you know, build your home with cash if you can, because when you homestead, there will always be something come up that you have to pay for, whether it be a tractor brake, which ours is broke right now, a lawnmower brake, and you're going to need a bigger lawnmower, you know, whether, you know, whatever the case may be, you know, you're always going to have something come up, you know, that's going to need fixed, or you're going to have to buy, you know. You think chickens are cheap. Chicken coop's not cheap to build, you know. It's just, there's always something. And so you want to be able to take that cash and use it where it needs to go instead of using it on bills, you know, on a mortgage or car payments or things like that. So if you can pay cash, that would be my recommendation for sure. So we have our berries here. We need to get them up on a vine or something, but they're doing pretty good this year. This is the first year we've had any fruit from them, so they're doing pretty good. And we have wild berries too. We have blackberries and black raspberries. So yep, we have 10 acres, so we pick them once a year, and I make some jellies out of them. But and then we have fruit trees that I make jelly and fruit leather out of. We tried that for the first time this year, plum leather. It turned out pretty good. Had to add a little bit more sugar than I had wanted to though. So, but yeah, we have plum, and we planted nectarine trees, but I think they probably died this year. So, but we have 4 apple trees and 3 peach and 2 plum, and we've gotten, sorry, not plum, pear, and we got so many plums, pears, I keep saying plums, pears 2 years ago that I still have some canned. So, and we gave a ton away as well. So, but last year the frost came too late, and so we lost everything. So, we're very excited to have the fruit this year. Yeah, and then we have our chicken tractor over here. My husband built all out of free lumber and metal, and we have 4 baby chicks in there right now that are just acclimating to outside. So we have 10 ducks and about 37 chickens now. We just had one die yesterday and 2 several weeks ago. So you just never know what you're going to get when you're out in the country and living, the homestead life. So you always have either something dying or some issue you have to deal with. And so it's, that's what's fun about it. You're always learning. You're always always striving to know more and understand more, and it's always fun though. It's always fun for sure. So this is our chicken coop and our run, and then a little extra area. Once we got the ducks, they were just a little too much, and so we usually let them all free range. Amelia didn't let them all out this morning, but they do pretty good, and they lay in the coop. We don't have a nest box in there at the moment. We have one. We have a really nice one, but we just need to figure out how to get it into the coop. So, but anyway, here is my garden that I planted way too much this year. We've got, most of it is volunteer actually. I'd say more than half of my garden is volunteer from last year's stuff. So I have potatoes, a couple that were volunteers from last year. I have over 50 tomato plants. Half were probably volunteers from last year. We have, I've got pumpkins that were volunteers as well. So from last year, I didn't plant any pumpkins this year, and I probably have 10 plants. So, but, so I planted peas and snap peas and sweet peas, and we probably got enough to make a whole meal out of them. And then the chickens decided that they wanted to use the ground as their dust bath. So they killed a lot of my peas. So, but that's okay. Every year, like I said, is different, and you just kind of do what you can and get what you can. So we got probably 150 onions that I just harvested last week, and the rain made it very hard to dry them, but we're getting there. And then I had parsley do really, really well. I dried a whole bunch of parsley, and we had potatoes. I still have some potatoes here in the garden, And I just harvested a whole bunch of those yesterday and the day before. So all this was potatoes. We've got some down there still. I planted peanuts this year, which I've never tried before, thinking it'd be fun. Of course, the weeds have taken over quite a bit. But yeah, and then I tried lima beans this year. I've never done lima beans, and my mom really likes lima beans. My mom just moved down the road, so we're trying these. So they are growing. So they are not quite where we need them to be yet, though. So I think they're gonna get thicker. So we'll see. So some of my tomatoes, I've got some Romas and cherry tomatoes, and they are not in any order, I will tell you that. They're just kind of in the garden. So we've got cucumbers. The cucumbers are doing pretty well. I've probably gotten about 15, 20 so far. I'm hoping to get a little bit more so we can make some pickles. So, and more tomatoes, more weeds, always lots of weeds. So, but yeah, and the pumpkins, like I said, these were all volunteers, and this one's not doing too hot, but they are growing some little mini pumpkins. So I don't know if you want to call them squash or pumpkin, but they're doing pretty good. And we don't usually eat them. We usually use them for decoration. So, but these tomatoes are doing really, really well. I'm really excited. So I'm not sure what they are, what variety, but they're doing pretty good. They look really healthy. So, and then I can't remember what these are. These might be zucchini actually. So, and then my corn. We tried corn the first year we lived here, and they were almost completely ready. And and the day before they were ready, the raccoons came and ate every single one of them. So, so yeah, we're trying it again, and we've got some live traps. Hopefully, we won't have any raccoon problems this year. So, and yeah, we're gonna try that out. So,
Look how many eggs.
We put a shade cloth on top of the run, and so it made everything super muddy. So we are deciding whether to take the shade cloth off or not. It makes things a little stinky sometimes. So, but this is our really fun nesting boxes that we bought. They will lay in here, and then it rolls down the back, and then you can get the eggs without being cracked.
Oh.
So, and without the chickens eating them. So we
Haven't set it up.
We had it set up, and then they just kept sitting on top of it and never using it.
And we only got
we need to put it where
egg.
it's supposed to go. They are doing probably better than the other trees are, I'd say, the other apple trees. I think the fertilization from the chickens have made them pretty healthy. We moved here back in 2008, I believe. And we planted these a couple, I'd say,
Years ago.
4 years maybe after we moved in here. And so we had some get completely demolished by different storms we had. So they've been here for a good probably 8 years. And we actually just 2 years ago did we get our first fruit from any of them, really. We got so many pears, like I said, that we canned a ton, and we had a tree full of apples, but raccoons came and ate them all. We've had a lot of issues with raccoons, so all those haters that say you shouldn't kill them or whatever, we put a lot of work into our gardens and our yard, and sometimes they do get killed. So, and sometimes, for the most part, we do try to live trap them, and we take them off to a different area. So, but some have gotten shot. So, and then last year the freeze, like I said, the freeze was too late in the year, and so we lost everything. So, but this year, yeah, every tree has fruit on it except for the one pear tree, which I think I stunted it because I think I cut too much off of it in the fall. So, pruning is hard work. So, and then this year, you can see the last storm we had knocked one of our apple tree limbs down, and but what's funny is it's still growing, so I think it still has some, it's still giving it some life. So I'm just gonna leave it for now, and we'll see what happens. So I'm glad I didn't cut it off right away. So, but they're still tiny. I'm not really sure, and they all have marks on them. You know, when you have a homestead, and if you don't spray stuff and things like that, your fruit and your vegetables don't always look perfect. So, but we'll be able to use it. We'll make applesauce, or if they don't taste great, you know, we'll make something out of them. But the pears tasted great once they ripened 2 years ago. So, and yeah, so like I said, it's always something. You're always learning. You're always, you know, so, and our apple trees have some kind of rust on them right now, so we probably do need to spray them with something. I'm not sure what. My husband has looked into all of that, so, you know, there's jobs for you and there's jobs for your husband. So I don't really use anything on the garden. He has sprayed the trees with a couple things in the past, but like I said, who knows, maybe that's why we didn't get fruit. I don't know. So, but for the most part, I think he tries to use more natural things. So, but yeah, I get out here and I'll prune them, but other than that, we don't really mess with them too much. We've had some storms kind of knock them over, and we've tried to pull them back, you know, with these and the tractor. We've tried to pull them back up, but other than that, we really don't mess with the trees too much. So they're more of a plant them, forget them for the most part, you know, besides pruning. So, and that may be the wrong way of looking at it right now, but when you have a million other things, other jobs, you know, you just pray that you get some fruit, you know, and you're doing good. So that's how I kind of look at a lot of things in my garden and my homestead, is that we just kind of do our best and pray that we get some fruit from it. And if you don't get anything, then it's okay, and you try again next year. I started learning about foraging, I don't know, maybe about 5 years ago. Maybe it started to pique my interest. I love feeding my family as natural as we can get, and there's nothing more natural than out in the woods. So nothing sprayed on them, nothing touches them. You know, there might be a little bit of bird feces or something, but you can wash that off, you know. So yeah, Queen Anne's lace right here, I can see already, is right here on the edge of the woods. And it does have a doppelganger look-alike, but they, for the most part, if you know what you're looking for, then, you know, you need to study. You need to really know what you're looking for, and before you use something. But Queen Anne's lace has a lot of medicinal properties to it that you can use. And we've got berries right here. So right here I've got some wild black caps, or black raspberries. So right here. So you can't get any fresher than that. So I've got wild roses right here. I believe that's wild rose hips. Of course, you wait till the fall. I mean, right before winter to pick those, and you can make teas and things with that. And then also you got the black raspberry leaves too. You can use those, which I'm not seeing any at the moment, but in the spring you can pick those, and you can make a tea with those. That's good for hormones and ladies who are wanting to get pregnant, so it's good for that. Not seeing anything right now. We've got oh goodness, what's it called? We have spice bush trees. We have a lot of spice bush plants in our woods, and you can use those. You can use the whole plant pretty much. You can make kind of like an allspice out of it. And what's so neat about that is every season it tastes a little different. So that's kind of interesting. I watch a lot of YouTube videos. And get a lot of books from the library. I've bought a couple books, but for the most part, I'll just borrow them from the library. So, and I've learned a ton through that. And we actually had an expert forager come out and on our property last year, and in the winter actually time, and so teach us what was out there in the winter. So so that was fun, you know. But yeah, for the most part, just books, just lots of books, and just looking, you know, always keeping your eyes open, and yeah, just being interested in it, you know. You if you're not interested in it, then you're not gonna, you know, you're not gonna look, and you're not gonna see, you know, what is out there. So but I just think it's amazing, like, that God gives us free food, you know, that we don't have to do so much work, you know. Homesteading is more than just words. It's a feeling. It's more than just wanting to walk away from, you know, a 9-to-5 job. It's more than wanting to walk away from big box stores and big pharmaceutical companies. It's a feeling of being home, you know. It's a feeling of wanting to be at your home, wanting to make it your little slice of heaven, you know. It's not wanting to walk away and go to, you know, on a dream vacation, because this is your dream. This is the place that you make to make you happy, you know. And so that's what I'm trying to create here, is a feeling of home, you know, not just for me and my husband, but hopefully my kids and my grandkids too one day, hopefully. And hopefully one day others will, maybe hopefully more people will want to join in and enjoy doing this adventure with us. Like I said before, we would like to do classes, and we've actually had some friends over to cull some chickens with us one time, and so yeah, it's definitely an adventure, and homesteading is something new every day, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I wouldn't want to live my life any other way. You're constantly learning, and I mean that's what I always want to do, you know. I'm always wanting to learn new things, and so that's why I try to teach my children, you know, that there's always something to learn, and everywhere you go, no matter what, there's always something to learn, you know, or to see and do. And so that's what I want to always encourage them to find the joy in learning, you know. And so I believe that knowledge is power, you know, that saying, that knowledge is power. And, you know, when we learn new things, that you're capable of doing all these things. You can have a homestead, you can have a farm, or, you know, and you can take care of yourself, you know. You can, you don't have to rely on others so much. And even though God gave us friendships and things like that, and to help each other, there's also something, I believe, with being able to do things for ourselves, you know. So especially not, you know, the big box stores and getting stuff from there, or the government, you know. So
Thank you so much for stopping in and for us to be able to share the Campbell story with you. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you. See you next time.